Hello, magical people. I'm Michael M. Hughes. Welcome to the Art of Magical Living. This channel is all about magic, not the pick a card, any card kind of magic tricks, but the magic that involves rituals, spells, meditations, that kind of magic. I'll cover all aspects of practical magic, with a special emphasis on divination, and in particular tarot, since I have been using and practicing and teaching tarot professionally for most of my adult life. We'll look at the long history of magic and how it has changed and what has remained consistent across the centuries. We'll discuss theory, how this stuff works, if it works, and why it works. This channel is aimed at practical instruction with the ultimate goal of bringing more meaning, depth, connection, artistry, and fun to your life. But first, let's define what we mean by magic.
Magic is a spiritual and artistic technology that uses consciousness to create change in oneself and the outer world.
Magic uses rituals, focused thoughts, words, energy, emotions, and actions, altered states of consciousness, like those induced by meditation, prayer, drumming, trance, ecstatic dance, psychedelics help enhance the practice. Magic uses symbolic imagery, like the powerful pictures on tarot cards or religious iconography. Setting the proper mood is vital for magical workings, so we use incense and fragrances, candles and music to focus all of the senses on the work at hand. And of course we have our props: wands, chalices, cauldrons, rocks and crystals, plants and herbs, all of the artistic tools of our trade. But now that we've defined magic, it's critically important that we debunk some of the many myths that hold people back from practicing these powerful, artful, life-enriching techniques.
Myth number 1. You have to be a witch or a pagan to practice magic.
I ran into this myth when my Trump binding spell went globally viral in 2017. Nearly every journalist who interviewed me assumed I was a witch, because in pop culture, if you practice magic or cast spells, you're a witch. I'm not a witch. I dabbled in Wicca in my 20s, but it just didn't stick. I'm a magician, plain and simple. I do magic. Witchcraft utilizes magic, of course, but so does hoodoo, also known as conjure or root work, a uniquely American tradition of magic created by enslaved Africans. Many African and African diasporic practices like Vodun, or also known as voodoo, Santeria, Candomblé, use magic. And of course, there are Western traditions like Hermeticism, Kabbalah, Aleister Crowley's Thelema, and countless other indigenous and shamanic folk traditions from around the planet. Nor do you have to be a pagan. I have an enormous number of pagan friends, have spoken at pagan conferences, and warmly embrace the pagan community. But the term has always made me a little bit uncomfortable because it supports the historical and cultural conflicts and divisions that seek to define Christianity and everything else. It ignores the fact that many of the world's spiritual traditions are syncretic, mixing and blending religious traditions, and the practitioners have no qualms about working with Jesus, Mary, and the Catholic saints right alongside of Ganesha, Hecate, and other deities from around the world. For thousands of years, folk magic has been promiscuous when it comes to mingling deities and spirits from different traditions. We can see that in ancient texts like the Greek magical papyri, in which Greek, Hebrew, and Egyptian magicians mixed and mingled gods and spirits in their workings. In practical magic, since antiquity, the rule is simple. If it works, use it.
Keeping in mind the thorny issue of cultural appropriation. which we'll address in a future video.
Witchcraft is a wonderful, diverse, and storied collection of traditions. But if it doesn't appeal to you, never fear. You can still do magic. So no, you don't have to be a witch or a pagan to do magic. You can be a Christian or a Jew or an atheist or a Buddhist or Hindu or a Muslim, as all of these spiritual traditions use or have used magic at some point in their history. In fact, if you're watching this, it's very likely that you're part of the largest growing religious demographic in the Western world, spiritual but not religious. Magic belongs to everyone. It is part of our birthright as spiritual beings. So think of the ecumenical, secular, magical techniques I will be sharing with you as a toolkit for an all-purpose magical practice. These universal tools can be utilized within almost any spiritual framework or system, or can be used to develop your own unique tradition.
Myth number 2. Magic is dangerous.
Driving a car is dangerous. Riding a bicycle is dangerous. Life is dangerous. Magic can be dangerous when it's employed for destructive, manipulative, purely selfish purposes. But there are built-in safeguards and practical and time-tested means of ensuring that your magical workings are free from unexpected repercussions or blowback. Magic is just a tool. You can cut yourself with a knife, or you can use a knife to carve a beautiful work of art. We'll explore ways to use your tools safely and effectively.
Myth number 3. Magic is superstitious nonsense and unscientific.
Heavy sigh. Magic is an artistic and metaphorical approach to spiritual living, while science is a method for understanding and interrogating the material basis of life and the universe. Magic and science are complementary and mutually supportive. But if you want to dig really deep, there are provocative, evidence-based theories of how magic might work, and we're going to talk to the scientists who are doing that pioneering research. Magic does not contradict science. If you believe in magical approaches to a global pandemic, say, then this channel is not for you. In fact, I've spent many years pointing out the problem with bullshit conspiracies, junk science and fraud, and racist, misogynistic, homophobic, authoritarian, and other problematic garbage infecting the magical and occult communities. Skepticism is required. Without an adequate BS detector, you're a prime target for hucksters and grifters. Science and mathematics are wonderful tools for many things. Poetry, play, art, and magic are wonderful for many other things. Both approaches work together to help us shape, craft, and navigate our lives.
Myth number 4. You need to be
Special. You don't need to be psychic. You don't need to be born with a call or as the 7th child of a 7th child. You don't need to be in touch with spirit guides or hop on a train to Hogwarts. We live in a magical universe and are born instinctively magical creatures. If you play the lottery, say a prayer for someone in need, leave flowers at a loved one's grave, use techniques of positive thinking or manifestation, or just notice symbolic coincidences in your life, you're already practicing magic. You don't need to be special, but practicing magic teaches you how special you are. Magic has always been a practice of the people, despite thousands of years of priests and religious leaders trying to take it away from us.
Myth number 5. You need to join a special group, take lots of classes, or read a lot of books before you begin practicing magic.
Those who say you need to be trained in specific techniques by their group or coven or order are just pushing their own dogma and are probably trying to sell you expensive classes. The only way to learn about magic is to do it, and the only way to get better at it is to keep doing it. So, are you ready? Subscribe to this channel, which will feature interviews with some of magic's most prominent and influential thinkers, practical spellwork and rituals, meditations and visualizations, book reviews because books are great, how-to guides to divination systems like tarot, the I Ching, and my new favorite, geomancy, tarot card deck reviews, and much, much more. So please subscribe and share with your magically inclined friends. I have a lot of surprises for you, and if there's something in particular you would like me to look at, please leave it in the comments. Again, welcome to the art of magical living. See you soon.